All right, let's talk about something we all have, and we all think we understand, body fat. But what if I told you there's this secret, super complex, and honestly fascinating world hiding right inside it? Let's get into it. So let me just throw this question out there right at the start. What if everything you think you know about body fat is, well, wrong? I mean, what if it's not just this enemy we're all fighting on the bathroom scale? What if it's actually one of the smartest, most powerful organs in your entire body?
For decades, and I mean decades, science saw fat as, well, just a passive warehouse. That's it. It was just this place to store the extra calories from, that slice of pizza or that donut. It was basically seen as this inert blob that just sat there, not doing much of anything. Kind of boring, right?
But then something happened. A discovery came along that didn't just challenge that old reputation, it absolutely shattered it. This was one of those moments that forced the entire scientific community to stop and rethink, well, everything.
And you can really see that shift right here on this timeline. I mean, look at this. Before 1995, the old idea, the dogma, was that fat is just for storage. End of story. But then 1995 hits. This is the turning point. Researchers discover a hormone, which they call leptin, and guess where they find it? Inside our fat cells. And just like that, boom, everything changes. Fat is no longer this quiet, passive warehouse. Suddenly it's an active, bustling factory that's constantly talking. A whole new organ we never knew we had.
So what do we call a factory like this? The scientific term is an endocrine organ. And you're already familiar with these. Think about your thyroid or your adrenal glands. An endocrine organ's job is to make and send out hormones, these little chemical messengers that cruise through your bloodstream telling other parts of your body what to do. And that's exactly what your fat is doing. It's constantly chatting with your brain, your liver, your muscles, all day, every day.
Okay, so if our fat is constantly having these conversations, what's it saying? What are these secret messages it's sending out all the time? Let's listen in and decode some of them.
Well, these hormonal messages have a name: adipokines. And don't mistake them for being minor players in the game. Oh no, they're absolutely central to how your body manages energy. Think of them as the managers, constantly sending out memos about your energy status to every other part of the system.
Okay, so let's look at two of the big ones, leptin and adiponectin. First up is leptin. This is basically the, hey, I'm full signal. It goes up to your brain and tells it, all right, you can stop eating now. But here's the crazy part. In obesity, the brain can actually become resistant to this signal. It's like the message is being sent, but the brain has its noise-canceling headphones on. Now, on the flip side, you've got adiponectin. This one is like your body's efficiency coach. It helps you handle insulin better and makes you a more effective fat burner. The catch? Adiponectin levels often go down as body fat goes up, which is the exact opposite of what you'd want to happen.
And this is where the conversation can take a really nasty turn. See, healthy fat tissue is great. It's sending out helpful signals like our friend adiponectin. But when that tissue gets overstuffed and unhealthy, it starts screaming out harmful, inflammatory signals instead. We're talking about molecules like TNF-alpha and IL-6. These guys create this constant, low-grade inflammation all over your body, and that's a direct path towards serious problems like insulin resistance and even type 2 diabetes.
But hold on, it's not a one-way street. This is a two-way conversation. Your fat isn't just talking, it's also listening. It's taking orders. So the big question is, who's in charge? Who's telling your fat what to do?
Well, it turns out there are a bunch of boss hormones giving your fat cells direct commands. You've got insulin and the stress hormone, cortisol. They're both yelling, store it, pack it away. Then you have other bosses like growth hormone and testosterone, and they're shouting the exact opposite, release it, burn it up. So your body fat is in this constant tug of war, and its fate really depends on which boss is screaming the loudest at any given moment.
And really, this is the whole point. It's summed up perfectly in this quote from way back in 1997. Hormones exert powerful influences on body fat distribution. It drives home the fact that this is so much more than just calories in, calories out. It's a deeply complex system, and hormones are calling the shots. So, where does all this leave us? Well, it puts us in a totally new reality. It really forces us to throw out the old playbook and completely rethink not just what fat is, but how we even approach our own metabolic health.
Okay, so let's just recap the big takeaways here. Number one, your fat is not just sitting there. It's an active, powerful endocrine organ. Number two, it's a massive communication hub, constantly sending and receiving messages. Number three, this whole back and forth conversation is a critical regulator of your metabolic health. And finally, and this is the important one, when that conversation breaks down, when those signals get scrambled, that's when things get serious, leading to issues like insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes.
And that leaves us with one last kind of mind-blowing thought to chew on. If our fat is this master communicator speaking its own complex hormonal language, what if we could learn to speak its language, right? Could we develop treatments that stop fighting against fat and start having a healthy conversation with it? That's a really exciting question, and it could totally change the future of medicine. Thanks so much for tuning in.